Is that it now?
This is the dance.
This is the dance. Okay. 90-degree angle and then just up and down. Yep.
This is the living Luna dance. Why is this the living Luna
Because
dance?
they're upside down L's and they're just dancing.
All right. Well, on that note, today we're going to talk about overthinking and how sometimes the curtains are just blue.
Yep. So overthinking.
Overthinking. Sometimes the curtains are just blue.
Yeah. And the reason why most people probably have heard that meme or example, but I'll just explain it briefly. Basically, a lot of us in America, at least, who went to public school had English classes where the teacher was like, "Oh, yes, in this chapter, the author states that the curtains are blue. Tell us the deeper meaning behind, like, what it was the author's purpose of saying that those curtains were blue.
What are the what's the symbolism of blue, and what do curtains represent, and why did they place it in the paragraph in that location?
Yeah. And I mean, we can become all like Jungian and be like, it's like, they're projecting their dream state onto paper sort of thing. But no, like,
sometimes the curtains are just blue.
Sometimes the curtains are just blue. Yeah. And that, I think, is a really hard thing for a lot of people to
a lot of people?
Well, yeah, a lot of people.
A lot of
me included.
I was gonna say.
I'm not saying everyone else except me. No, I am definitely near the front of the line of overthinkers.
Near the front of the line.
Yeah.
I like that description.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of good conversations lately with people about the concept of overthinking and projection and our own internal view of things. And yeah, like, it's just been very illuminating to see how overthinking impacts us, because I mean, I'm always talking to clients about if I am, scared of a certain outcome with another person specifically. And I think overthinking, like, we can overthink within ourselves, but we overthink a lot about other people or situations. Like, what are other people thinking about me? Or, whatever. Like, what did it mean that they looked at me that way, or that they said this, or that they didn't say that, or whatever. And I always talk to my clients about how, like, you can exist in this, like, oh, the answer is they hate me and it means this bad thing about me. But then there's the possibility that it means nothing. And if you're overthinking, you are automatically in this camp.
Yeah.
Because you're not really weighing this as an option when you're overthinking. You're like, oh no, they hate me. The overthinking is never positive. Like, it's never like, let me overthink about how wonderful I am and how good life is. It's like,
that's just thinking.
Yeah.
That's not overthinking.
So when we actually just get the damn information, when we just say, hey, is this what you mean by this? Or is, how do you feel about XYZ? Like, 9 times out of 10, it's this one. It was not this thing we were overthinking and worried about. Well, it was actually this. But until we got that information, we couldn't come here. So,
I mean, we live in a society of subtext. Like, passive communication is how many of us were raised, right? Like, parents would be upset at us for not understanding what they meant for whatever reason.
Oh man, and now we understand Body of 9, and the fact that it's highly unlikely that we would ever understand what our parents were saying, because the likelihood of us being the same number as them is statistically improbable.
Right. Yeah.
Like, well, and more or less statistically impossible unless so many kids are adopted. But like, we're very likely not going to match our family's communication styles or way of thinking or way of being. And yet we were definitely expected, at least in my family, to manage a lot of the emotions of other people and to guess
Yeah.
at what people were thinking or feeling.
Yeah. Like we are responsible for other people's feelings, and therefore we must be mind readers ultimately. So, I have clients all the time that are like, I want to word this in such a way to this person so that they take this the right way.
Yep. Oh man, all the time. All
Yep.
the and I'm like, okay, we could word this perfectly from our perspective, and this person may still take it exactly how you don't want them to take it.
Yep.
So be compassionate, be kind, be straightforward.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's all you can do. But yeah, like
Hmm.
then the overthinking with that, like, oh, how can I say this perfectly?
Yeah. Yeah. And that reminds me um of another thing that I saw earlier was like honesty without kindness is brutality sort of thing,
Mm,
which what is kindness for each person, right? We're both of us are neurodivergent and we see kindness in different ways. Like there can be transparent honesty between you and me. I'll take it extremely personally and parts of me will be like that was very unkind for me. So, but then what'll happen for me is I won't be completely honest with you or keep you appraised because I'm like, oh, I would consider that to be unkind if I was that brutally honest. But I would consider that brutally honest. And you're like, I just want the information to
mhm.
like keep me appraised, please. And so that's really hard when there's also these different subjective definitions and experiences of what kindness equals and what safety equals and what all of that stuff.
Yeah, and so maybe even kindness is not the right word. Maybe it is compassion. And I always, some of my key phrases are compassion does not equal enabling.
Yeah.
Like if you're enabling someone's poor behavior, that's not compassion. Compassion has to start first for ourselves and then can be applied to others. So if I'm like, okay, I need to communicate this with you.
Hmm.
Um, and the compassionate thing is for me to communicate this thing with you. Because if I keep it to myself, I'm going to bottle it up and that's going to do me harm over time. And I know that this information is going to be hard for you.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean the compassionate thing is to not tell you.
Right.
It means, because again, it has to stem first in myself. So I need to tell you this because it's the compassionate thing for myself. Okay, how do I communicate it with you most compassionately? Well, okay. Don't yell at people. It's a good place to start.
Hmm.
Using I statements. I feel this about
Hmm.
this thing you did. Um, I think that's important for compassion. But then also, like, I think it's really compassionate to tell other people what they can do in the situation to
Mm.
make it better for both people, right? Like I think one of the most uncompassionate things we do. So I'm going to make up an example here.
Okay.
If I'm like, I'm really upset that you keep leaving laundry in the bedroom floor
Hmm.
and I just vent it at you,
Hmm.
you're going to be left feeling really gross no matter what.
Right.
So the compassionate thing to do is to tell you how you can fix it and ask you if you're willing to do it.
Right.
Right? So getting clear with what like why are you sharing this information with someone else?
Right.
Hey, are you willing to
Hmm.
clean your laundry up off of the floor because it upsets me or whatever, right? Um
And people like can often, if they're given those requests, feel like that's the only solution, right? Like if you gave me the solution, can you pick things off of the floor? Um, like my mind might go to, oh shit, like I'm super low spoons and I like this is the narrative of shame that I could go down. Like
Overthinking. Let's go.
overthinking. Yeah. Here is a piece of what overthinking looks like. So you'll say using I statements and beautifully compassionate, hello, things are on the floor. I feel this way. Would you be willing to here's the solution, right? And my brain goes like, "That's the only solution. It seems simple enough, and yet you haven't been doing it. So you're a piece of shit for not doing it, and you have shown time and time again that you are incapable of doing it. And she offered the solution that you can't do, and you're so incapable as a person that you probably can't come up with any other creative solutions to do said thing." So it's like just catastrophizing in on itself.
Ooh, the overthinking spiral.
Yep.
Yeah.
And instead, I could also be like, "Oh yeah, I am struggling with that. I don't know if there could be a way to have me do the picking up of laundry in a certain way that'll make it easier for me. Like maybe we set an alarm, or maybe we like, figure out an accommodation together to where I can do the thing, right?
Right.
Or be like, I can pick up the laundry, but I need a body double."
Yeah. And so that's coming back to compassion. With the overthinking, there was no compassion in that. It
Right.
was like, I'm terrible, I'm this, I'm that, and just the spiral. Versus if we can acknowledge that right away and default back to compassion first for myself,
Hmm.
the overthinking, the spiral is like, it's a form of mental self-harm
Yeah.
in a way. It's having this impact physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, etc., on your body. Because this is like a really alarming thing. I don't remember where I learned this, but we've found that watching something on TV, hearing a certain story, reading a certain story has the same impact on us
Hmm.
as if we were undergoing that thing ourselves. And same thing with thinking. If we're thinking abusive things to ourselves, it has the same impact on us as if we were being abused by an outside person.
Cool.
So that's really alarming when we think about it, because so many of us we did face this external criticism or invalidation or whatever that led us into the overthinking to try and protect ourselves.
Hmm.
But now we are the ones continuing to harm ourselves in that.
Yeah, because, well, I can speak for my own personal experience and my own work and what I've reflected on, but based off of what society has taught me is, you deserve to suffer,
Mm.
right? Like you before you can move on, you have to think about what you've done, right? And so it's like that ingrained that model of, have I thought about this enough? Have I tortured myself enough with how bad of a person I am
Ugh.
for doing that?
I hate that, like, think about what you've done. Like, you need time to think about what you've done, especially when that's presented to children,
Hmm.
because that's not how children's brains work.
They don't think.
They don't think.
They're emotion.
They
They're
just
emotion in the
they
body.
just feel their little bodies, and their little brains are like trying to make sense of things and can't.
Well, yeah, and we brought up in the last episode with Angelina Soon about felt safety, um, and basically Robin Goebel talks about how our brains do this thing where it assesses for danger once every quarter of a second, all the time. Like that is a subconscious thing that they have measured that we do
Ugh.
all the time, right?
No wonder I'm exhausted.
Yeah. But like it's this level of subconscious hypervigilance of like, here it is, the safe or unsafe, is the safe or unsafe, just constantly thinking like your environment, the people you're
Mm.
around, all that stuff. And like basically we assume that kids are gonna just we can just think our way out of everything, right?
Yeah, that kids can rationalize the
Mind over matter.
the consequences of their actions, but no. And so, yeah, like, no wonder we do have this massive population of overthinkers who just spiral into the what ifs and the oh no's and the
Mhm.
just the doomsday stories.
Yeah, and that's why the anxiety and depression is like so high, because, people are like, well, the world's a dumpster fire, and like, everyone before us and us are still causing it, and there's no way out of it, and I don't know how to like get out of it. I'm incapable of getting out of it, and so it's like
Mm.
the laundry example to the macro level of like,
Well,
here's
and yeah, and just this is proof, like, again, like, we don't overthink about good things.
mhm.
Like, what would happen if we overthought ourselves into positivity? If we just were spending, what if we went to our rooms and spent 30 minutes thinking about the wonderful things in life?
Well, that's the thing, is that overthinkers can think themselves out of the positive things.
Yep.
Like, that is more likely going to happen, is they'll usually chalk it up to luck. Like, it's not,
Mm,
I didn't do this. Like, of course, or of course they're supposed to say that. They're my significant other. Like, that's just what they're supposed to say. That's not actually what they think about me. Like, those are things that people will,
mm.
anytime someone's like, oh, I don't take compliments well, like, they're an overthinker that struggles to
I
receive
used to, yeah,
positivity.
it's interesting having this conversation. I'm really recognizing the ways that I used to overthink.
Hmm.
And so I'm trying to think of really, like, how do we get out of this loop? So I'm trying to think of how I got out of it.
Hmm.
I'm also thinking I want to talk about parts, right? Because the overthinker is a part,
Hmm.
and a lot of people have this overthinker part.
Usually teaming up with a catastrophizer part and anxiety. It's a nice little network.
Yeah. So, like, you're overthinker.
Hmm.
I mean, everyone's overthinker. If we could just externalize them more and recognize, okay, hi, overthinker.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
Gonna get taken off of YouTube for that.
I
Watch.
know.
Um,
It's a cover. It's fine.
but yeah, like, being able to say, hi, I see that you're really thinking really hard about this, and like, you don't actually have to think about this. You could go ask, or like,
Mm,
getting out of the loop. Like, how do you get out of the loop? Or do you not have an answer for that yet? Because I'm trying to think back to like how I got out of the loop.
mm. Well, I have been recognizing what I call it is like my narratives, right? I create narratives upon narratives upon narratives. That's my spiral. Um, that don't exist really. Like, it's it's like Schrodinger's cat in terms of like narratives.
Oh no. Speaking of which, Schrodinger was an asshole apparently who abused children. So now we don't want to use him anymore. But
Yeah, great. Well, philosophy about the cat being alive and dead by an asshole person that created this philosophy. Um, uh, goddamn, freaking, was he a white man? Probably.
of
Of
course.
course. Anyway,
Sorry, I just totally, derailed the episode into social justice territory of why are we all jerks? Why are humans jerks?
because why are white men? Um,
I was having my sister go back and listen to some of our episodes
yeah.
and like help us if we're gonna put it back out there and do blog posts and whatnot. And she cracked me up. She's like, I I've been editing some stuff that you say out because it's gonna make some people really mad. And I was like, good. It better make them mad because I want them to think about
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I am Googling to make sure that I have not just, trash talked this person as being terrible. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, narratives that I've created in my own head, sort of thing, to like take me down a path of like, here's this story, and then I've convinced myself that that part of the story is true, and then going down and being like, well, this must be the truth, and then so I've just, it's like the memes of like people crying and someone's like, why are you crying? And they're like, I created a story in my head and hurt my own feelings. Like, that's me. So the first step, and this is what I do with clients too, is like, you want to be able to have the awareness piece first, right? People want to go to the final point of resolving, right? No. Awareness is the first recognizing that, because at this point we've created a reflex. Like we're so used to creating the narratives that it's just like ding, narrative is created. We are now 17 narratives deep.
You've lost the original thread. What are
Yeah,
you even talking
I'm
about
creating
anymore?
telephone with myself, and now we're in this really bad filtered section of what I think reality is, and it's terrifying. But yeah, so that whole thing basically is, first I had to recognize when I was in narrative level 17, like, oh, I'm in the basement level. Holy shit, where are we going? Yeah, like we created narratives to get here. And then each and it's like, oh, I'm proud of myself for recognizing I am in a narrative.
Mhm.
Cool. Like, neat. And then I can ask people clarification or being like, I feel like I created a narrative here. Can and sometimes I am right. Like there have been times I'm like, I don't know if I've interpreted this
Yeah,
correctly.
I've been very proud of you when you're like, you seem a little frustrated here. How are you feeling?" And I'm like, "Yes. You nailed it
I'm
this
like,
time."
of course I did. On
When
the
you
moments
finally ask.
when I'm worried about asking about it, you're like, yes, you are correct this time. I'm like, oh boy.
But then that's good because now you're not overthinking. You're just like, okay, I have the information now that yes, this is what's going on, which makes you able to do something with it.
Right, exactly. Instead of continuing to spin my wheels of how I can, I can then ask you like, well, what can I do? Like, be allow you to be a part of the real narrative, not the ones that I had created. So after I've had the recognition of being in a narrative and recognizing what that feels like in level, sub level 17, the goal is to build more awareness so that I'm not reaching the lowest level of narrative. So it's like catching myself at sub level
Sooner.
10
Right.
or catching myself at sub level 5. And so it's like the more that I build that muscle of awareness, then I can catch myself as soon as I hit the first sub level of narrative and be like, all right, time to ask for clarification.
What does overthinking feel like in your body for you? Like if you're to tune into that part of you that overthinks, where do you notice that?
Mm. Um well, since it's like tag teaming with anxiety, it has anxiety pieces to it, like racing chest, kind of tight chest. Um, very, uh, but I had to think about that and kind of like notice it myself when thinking about it because I probably don't notice that in the moment because I am very detached from my body. It,
So numbness might be your first signal in the
mhm.
body of overthinking.
Yeah,
Like,
numbness and like complete and utter, like I am blinded to everything else around me. Like I am so hyper focused on this thing. It's usually when you or anyone else will see kind of like my eyes like being vacant or something and you're like, "What's going on in your head?" And I'm like, "You don't want to know." Like
the spiral
like
is what's
yeah,
happening.
I remember when you first asked me when we first got together and you were like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, my it's literally like static. Like that's or it just felt like a giant yarn ball of like because I knew that all of this narrative stuff was happening, but I didn't know how to explain it in that point.
Mhm.
That was before I got back into therapy, did the master's degree program, like learned
Yikes.
about things. So it was like extra,
Stuff.
extra uncertain as to how to explain that to you because I also didn't really know. But that's how I got out of it. What about you?
I'm still like struggling to remember how I really, really, really got out of it. I mean, I think of my rise framework because it's three steps: resilience, integration, self-empowerment.
Mhm.
And
Also, sorry if you hear screaming, there are kids having fun in the beautiful weather that's happening right now. So,
which we can't blame
which
them.
we can't blame them. Good job, kids. Anyway, rise.
Yes, like for me, resilience is something that like automatically is built just by surviving trauma and adversity and stuff. So like we don't really have a choice in that so much. I mean, we do, but we don't. But the integration piece, like integrating the lessons that we have learned about, in this case, overthinking, when I look back to what did I learn about overthinking? I learned that it was very rarely correct. It was a waste of my energy and time and
Mm,
spoons and all of that. So I needed to integrate within myself that that was a fact. That was true for me. That overthinking was not functional for me. It was not harmonized. And then the self-empowerment piece. And that's where the noticing comes in, and like recognizing the body signals or the mental signals that tell us we're going to a certain path. So for me, overthinking, I feel almost like a buzziness in my head and a
Mm,
tightness in my chest.
mhm.
And the racing thoughts start going.
Yep.
And the what if, like there's certain language, oh, I should, or what if, or do they think?
Yeah.
Those are some keywords.
Are they going to?
Are they going to, these what if type nebulous statements? And now if I'm catching that language, for me, the self-empowerment piece is go ask the question.
Mhm.
It's go actually ask so and so if they actually think this about me or what they think about the situation. um I'm really fortunate to be in a space now where my toolkit is just so rich that I very rarely overthink or
Mhm.
get stuck in that, because the second I catch it, I'm like, deep breathing. Like I know how to deep breathe now, and I know how to um reflective journal, and I know how to externalize my parts and have a conversation with them. um and I think that talking to ourselves, like overthinking is an internal conversation.
Mhm.
If we could even start to verbally say some of those things out loud, we could hear how disconnected they are.
Mm.
But in our heads, it feels so real and very there, because we're literally like in just one part of our brain. So being able to say, wow, I'm really worried that so and so thinks I'm a jackass. Whatever.
Mhm.
Like then even verbalizing that and hearing myself say it, I might have a different response to it and be like, oh, well, that doesn't actually matter. Or, of course they don't. Or, well, let's go ask. Because we're accessing a different part of the brain in verbalizing it.
Right, right. I'm also curious if the concept of overthinking is just like an unaligned or misaligned creative piece of us. Like, have you ever had like witnessed like a child that's super like all children are creative in their own ways, and they don't have necessarily the tools and resources to be creative other than some very basic things in the room, right? And they
Hmm.
will figure out a way to do something with those things, which can be harmful. So if you all you have is like scissors and it's a 2-year old, like they're going to try to do something with them, right? So it's like what if, and so it's like we've provided this overthinking part with um like anxiety is like, come here to this room, right?
This dark, dark
This dark
room.
dark room with just all of these things that you really shouldn't play with, and it like will then deconstruct all of these negative pieces, and will be like, oh my god, why did you do that? But overthinker role is in fact like all parts are good,
Hmm.
right? And so the purpose of talking to overthinker is to be like, hello, like I get what you're trying to do, I appreciate you for doing what you're trying to do, like
Trying to come up with every contingency, every possibility, every plan, yeah,
yeah, like
safety.
yeah, trying to find the safety. And like I love, like it's like I love your energy, I love what you're doing. And like you would do with a child, you can be like, but let's redirect that intense energy into actually creating stories. Write a book, right? Like you can write a whole book about why a curtain is blue if you want, right? And that can be your creative whatever. Like
Well, and I'm even thinking just like that energy of overthinking, that part, if it were harmonized, would be able to get to the root of what information do I need
mhm,
to no longer have the concern that I currently have.
right,
Right? Because I think all overthinking comes from like some initial trigger or concern,
right.
right? Like I fear something, I'm disappointed in something, I'm
Ashamed
ashamed
of
of something,
something.
I'm angry at something, and then right, the
Yeah.
stories kind of spiral from there. So if we can just hey, buddy, hey, overthinker buddy, what do you need in order to have the information you need? What information do you need to feel more confident in this situation, or to not be afraid, or to not be ashamed?
Mm-hmm.
And that part could tell us that if it
Yep.
was harmonized, and then we would be able to go get the information or do the activity that we need to do in order to feel safe again.
Yeah. And that's the process of learning about all of your part system, like because of the fact that the the overthinker part could be worried about other parts, which is causing it to not know what to tell you, right? Because there could be an inner critic. Everyone has an inner critic, judgmental parts, like everything that's like just suffocating other parts from being able to really be able to talk to us as self. Um, because they're scared of these. Oftentimes, people will first see these judgmental parts as like their parents or guardians, like if you were to envision what they would look like. Um, and it makes sense why you'd be scared to like parts of you that represent maybe younger parts of you being scared of these parts that represent parents,
Oh, the parent
the
parts.
parent parts.
And yeah, and the overthinker is probably directly related to whatever we learned about how to reflect. I mean, I feel like all of us grew up with timeouts,
Yep.
and being sent to our room. There's so few people who aren't or haven't experienced that, amongst other things. But
Or you have to earn their trust back.
it's a hard one.
I mean, it makes sense because you can lose people's trust, right?
Right.
But it's kind of like with
But kids,
but with
but
kids,
but kids,
but
they
kids,
don't get it.
yeah, like they aren't malicious usually. Like the only time when kids
Okay,
are,
maybe when they're teens.
I mean, there have
They
been,
might be a little malicious in their teens, but
well, I mean, I'm talking about
little
before, yeah,
kids,
little.
yes.
I mean, there are some little kids that are some exceptions with a ton of abuse and stuff that lead them to be whatever. But like a huge percentage of kids, are so in just, trying to figure out their felt safety and recognizing that and doing whatever is needed to do that. And it's the parent's job to help them learn the healthy ways to do that. So they're going to fuck up. They're going to make mistakes. They're not going to know how to approach different things in certain ways. Their bodies are going to want them to move in certain ways. Their bodies are going to want them to just experiment with life. And that's going to cause them to be in harmful places. It's going to cause them to be like, seem to do really silly things that are not of no benefit, might make them seem rude or manipulative or but that's from our adult lens of being like, oh, this is,
Overthinking what kids are doing.
oh shit, are we bringing it back? We're bringing it back
Full
around.
circle.
Yeah, of like, um oh god, yeah, so literally parents, notice yourself, how you see a kid's behavior. If you're placing a value on their behavior,
If you're placing a judgment or a value or a thought on their behavior and why they're doing it
and what it means,
and what it means, yeah, you're getting into overthinking territory.
yeah, if you're and if
Chances are it means they're a kid that
Mhm.
has feelings.
Yeah,
That's about it.
yeah, so most of the time, yeah, like elementary school level kids, like of course when we hit teenager levels they
Middle
can,
school, even still up. I mean,
eh,
really, like, our brains don't develop that full abstract reasoning until we're 24, 25.
yeah.
And, 26 is about when we can trust maturity to start to truly
To
form.
start to truly form. I'm 29 and I'm going to be 29 and I'm still getting there.
But yeah, like, the kids don't have mature, and I mean, a 17-year-old still isn't going to have maturity about the abstract impact of their actions on other people, and in a global way, or on even an individual. They might understand it on an individual level, like, oh, I said a douchey thing and you're crying now. Oh, I can see how those two are related. But
Mhm.
like they're not going to have that abstract ability to pull back and look at the big picture and the trickle effect and the way all the pieces move together. I
I
mean,
mean,
some adults don't even have
there are
that.
some adults that don't, and then there are some neurodivergent kids that do go that route for sure. When they're like in middle school and will be like, I'm going to think really abstractly about everything, which is fine too. But I mean, everyone's different, of course. But yeah,
Well, and I mean different abstract reasoning here.
different abstract reasoning. Okay.
Not big processing conceptual stuff. I literally mean like our place as humans in the
Mm,
collective whole, and that individuality versus the collective, and like the subtle
mm,
difference there. Our brains literally can't, like, we don't even have the ability to understand between like familial love and romantic love until we're older.
wow.
Like what love intricately conceptually is until we're much older.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense too, because like that is a thing. Um, when you're saying individual versus collective, my brain goes like, well, yeah, as an autistic person, that's one of the things that autistic people can struggle with for a lot of their life, past the, being able to, and of course, different neurodivergent people will process these differently. Like you're neurodivergent and you have a way clearer understanding, also because you're a national number 9 of like collective versus individual impact sort of thing. Like for me, as a national number 1 and also a different flavor of neurodivergent, like I am, uh, it takes me a lot longer to recognize the impact that I have on the whole and everything around that. Like that's such, it's way more complex for me to understand that. I think the phrase that you've used a lot recently in trying to help me understand is like, I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. Like, I really don't. Like, I didn't realize how bad it, like how intense it was in how everything was related and interconnected with things. And
yeah, so if you, an adult, do not fully understand, and there's all these people that don't understand, why do we expect kids to understand? And why do we overthink on behalf of other people?
yeah, yeah. So the narrative piece is pulling away from other people's agency.
Yeah, because you're so often when we are overthinking about what something means to another person or what they think about us, what we mean to them now. And yeah, it is a lot of projection in a really unhealthy way. Not human design projection, but
Yeah. The
mental emotional. Yes.
yeah, psychotherapy projection concept, like transference, countertransference concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously like overthinking is something I'm sure all of us have overthought at some point about something, and it's so in our culture to just question our own agency, question our intuition, question our gut feelings, question our autonomy,
Mhm.
um question our authenticity. Like we question constantly as a society because things have become so toxic and one size fits all. So
And overthinking is different than discernment, I would say.
oh, for sure. Yeah, because discernment is that, like, I have landed in my center and
Mhm.
I know this to be true for me. There's nothing about anyone else. There's no, this is what it means for them. This is what they must be thinking. It's like, ah, yes, this is the right answer for me. And
Mhm.
it's discernment is for us.
Right.
Overthinking is pulling in all this other
Right.
junk.
The way that you were explaining, just, thinking about everything, and questioning, like the concept of questioning, I was like, well, questioning can also come with discernment as well. So
Questioning is important. I mean, I taught my students when I was a teacher, question everything, but you don't have to over question everything. Like if you land, this is the intuition versus the ego. The first response, that gut feeling is usually the correct answer for us, but we don't trust it. So we go into, like, we'll hear that you're beautiful. And then we're like, but am I? But
Yeah.
what does beauty mean? And does so and so think I'm beautiful and whatever, instead of just like landing
Oh man.
in the fullness of it, like whatever it is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we
We can go on
we
this
can go on.
forever.
So
We and this conversation of trusting ourselves is also talked in the Angelina Soon episode that was the one before this. So if you also want to learn about that stuff, it's in that episode too.
yeah, like just self-trust is so hard when we've been taught to
Not trust ourselves.
not trust ourselves and to question everything about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah, we could go into the queer narrative here too,
Yep.
right? Like, are you sure this isn't just a phase? Yikes. So
Yikes.
we're gonna go drink some calming tea now.
Yep.
And
and if you are listening to this or seeing this anywhere, where you can leave a comment on like our Facebook page or our Facebook group,
or YouTube
or
or
YouTube
Discord
or
or
Discord.
5,000 different places where you can
Yeah.
hang out with us.
Yeah. Feel free to like let us know what, like, if you're noticing the narratives you're starting to pull in, like if you're starting to notice what's the lowest sub level of narrative you've gotten to. Like IU17 is just like a generic
You go
number.
at least 17
At
layers
least
deep.
17 usually, but like
At
I'm
least.
sure that I've gotten down to sub level 100 and needed like an elevator back up, like in Stardew Valley. Like
But yes, we would love to talk with you about anything from any of our episodes that resonate with you and hang out with you and help you not overthink and do these things by having meaningful discussions and reflections and conversations where we are sharing back and forth, because it's really hard to overthink when you're actually in community where everyone is communicating.
I love that.
So
Yeah, and I know that a lot of the people that we've had on our show has been entrepreneurs, which is awesome. And I also want to extend the invitation to anyone who might just be on this self journey of authenticity exploring, and have things to say about previous episodes. Like if this one struck a chord for you and you're like, I want to talk more to you about this, we can totally make that a podcast episode if you
yeah,
want.
we love having live conversations with random people and get to know them and ask them questions and them ask us questions and have good conversations. So yeah. Oh, overthinking's heckin' tough. And I am so sorry if you are still struggling with it, because I know how hard it is. And as someone on the other side of it being a pattern, I do want to say that there's hope.
Yeah, and as someone who is on the bridge of going over to the other side, definitely the other side is better, even if the overthinking part of you is trying to convince you that it needs that control, right? That's the biggest piece, is like we create these narratives to create this control, but it's false control. Like we are creating this controlling narrative, but it's not real until we really ask somebody like, what is actually real.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. And even if you just step one toe on the bridge, just we
Acknowledge that you might have an overthinking part.
Mhm.
Like that's potentially step one.
And you're not bad for having it. Overthinking part is good at its core.
Culturally very normal,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and
Be kind to yourself.
yeah. Heck.
Heck.
Bye.